Good day, everyone. Welcome to lecture number 17 of Theory of Competition. And in this particular lecture, we will be discussing about the pumping lemma. So, pumping lemma is the another approach that is used to prove whether a language is non-regular. So, you have to remember that this particular theorem, Myhill-Naredi theorem, that we discussed in lecture number 16, and the pumping lemma that we are going to discuss today in this particular lecture. So both these theorems, or we can say both these concepts, are used to prove a language is non-regular. You should keep in mind that these two theorems are not used to prove the regular language. They are used to prove a language is non-regular. Okay. So let's come back here to the pumping lemma. So as I said, pumping lemma is another mechanism to prove the language is non-regular. Okay. But before discussing this pumping lemma, let's do one thing. Okay. Let's take any finite automata. Okay. For example, if I have a finite automata, this is my finite automata. And we know that every finite automata have some states. Let's say it has k states. Okay. So for example, this is my finite automata and it has k states. Okay. And let's say this is the final state and this is the initial state. So how many states are total? K states. So let's suppose on this particular automata, if I give it a string with length k plus 1, what does that mean? So I am giving, let's suppose this is my automata. Okay, finite automata. Let's say DFA, deterministic finite automata. It has how many states? 3 states. Okay. Let me give it a string of 4, size 4, string of size 4. Let's say the string is like this. Okay. So what it is going to do? So if it is in this state, if it sees A, okay, it goes to next state. It sees B, it goes to next state. It sees A, it goes to next state. And then A, it goes to next state. And at this, it will end. So you can see if I give this string as input to this particular automata. Okay. So how many strings are there? How many, what is the size here? The size is 4. And how many states are there? There are 3 states. So if I say that on each alphabet, or we can say on each symbol, state is changing, is it possible for 3 states? Okay. So let me repeat what I am saying. So what does this mean that the length is 4 and the states are 3? So if I am saying that on each alphabet, on each symbol, we are changing a state, then it should have at least how many states? At least 4 states. Then only I can say that on every state, on every symbol, I am changing the state. Okay, because the length is 4. However, since we know that there are how many states? Only 3 states. That means my automata, this automata, is not changing state on every symbol. Okay. So what does that mean? It means that on some symbols, it is repeating same states. It is repeating same states. Okay. So what I am saying that if I have an automata of how many states? K states. Now if I give it a string input, okay, and that string has length greater than k, Okay, what does that mean? It means that on this particular string, on some part, subpart, it repeats some states. Okay, so on some part it repeats some states. So let's say this is state qi, and then we have state another state qj. Let's say it is repeating these states. So if I have a string of length greater than k, if I give this string as input to this automata, so you can see that this string, my automata will first go here, then it will repeat this part, then it will go forward. Or it is possible that it will repeat this, let's suppose x number of times. Number of times. Okay. Because otherwise it is not possible. If my finite automata is changing state on every symbol, then it is not possible to have states less than this particular string. So there must be some states that are repeating, then only we can say this automata is processing this particular string. Okay, so let me repeat it again. Let me rub this and repeat this again. So what I am saying, so let me repeat this scenario again. So what I am saying, let's say, let's say we have a finite automata, have a finite automata, and in this particular automata, let's say there are k states. Okay, fine. Now let me take a string. Let's consider a string. Consider a string w such that length of this string is greater than k, greater than or equal to k. Then this particular string w, this can be divided into three parts. So we can write this w, or instead of w, let's name it s. Okay, s. So I can divide this s in these three substrings u, v, and w. For example, if my string is like this, okay, so I can divide it into three parts. So let's say the first part is u, the second part is v, and the third part is w. So every string can be divided into three parts. Okay, and let's say since we said that s, length of this s, this string is greater than the number of states in this finite automata. So what does this mean? So it means that if I give this string as input to automata, so let's say this string is accepted by automata, by this automata, the automata that we are considering. Okay, so if I give this string as input to automata, so that means my automata will reach to which state? It, it will reach to a final state. Okay, after consuming this particular string, s string. Now I am saying this string s, the size of this string is greater than or equal to k. So when the size of this string is greater than the number of states, that means on some part of this string, some portion is getting, or we can say some states are getting repeated. Otherwise, it won't be able to accept this string by a automata of size k. Why? By pigeonhole principle. Pigeonhole principle. What is this principle saying? Pigeonhole principle. Let me generalize it, or let me give an example. So it is saying that let's suppose you have n nests and you have n plus 1 pigeons. So can I accommodate n plus 1 pigeons in n nesters? Yes, I can accommodate. However, there should be at least one nest with more than one pigeons. Then only I can accommodate n plus 1 pigeons in n nesters. Likewise, in this case, we are saying the length of this string is greater than the number of states in this particular automata. So that means on some part of this string, some states are getting repeated. Okay. So let's say this is state qi, then we have some states, and then we have state qj. Let's say these states from state qi to qj, these states are getting repeated on some part, on some part. Okay. So let's divide this particular string S into three parts. So U, V, and W. And let's say V is a part of string on which states get repeated. Okay, so what does that mean? If I give this string as input to this automata, so U part of string will be consumed up to this point. Okay, then comes V part. So in this V part, this particular V, the states are getting repeated. So we don't care about these states. So that means in this V part, we reach from Qi to Qj, Qi to Qj. Okay, or I can say that on this V part of the string, I am coming back to the same state. So V part is I am going from here and then coming on the same state. So I am going from Qi to Qi on this particular string on V part. Okay, and on W, then I go from Qi to final state. So let me repeat it again here. So what I am saying, q, this is final, this is initial, and this is our qi. Okay, so there may be multiple states in between. So I am saying if the size of this string is greater than or equal to k. Okay, what is k here? K are the number of states of finite automata. Then I am saying that this S can be divided into three parts, U, V, W, such that V is that part on which states get repeated. Okay, so that means if on U part I reach from Q0 to Qi, then on V part I will be coming back to the same state, whether some multiple states are getting repeated or same state is getting repeated. So on V part I will go from Qi to Qi, and on W part I will go from Qi to the final state. Okay, so what does that mean? So that means if this automata accepted this particular string UVW, then it should also accept this particular string UVVW. Why? Let's see. So on this particular string UVW, so we are going from initial state to final state. Final state is our Q. So how we are going from initial state to final state? So on Q0, after consuming U, it goes to state Qi. And on V, it go from Qi to Qi. And on W, it will go from qi to q. Now let's take this particular string. Let's see where will it go. Okay, so on q0 it will go by consuming u, it will go to qi. Now we have v part of the string. So on v, we know it will go from qi to qi, because on v it will go from qi to qi. Now we have another v, it will go from, again on v it will go from qi to qi. Now we have w, and we know on w it will go from qi to qi to q on w. And q is our final state, so that means this string will be accepted. Likewise, this string will also be accepted. Okay, this string will also be accepted. You can see this string will also be accepted. Okay, so that means if I have a string s, okay, and the size of this string is greater than or equal to k, sorry, where k is the number of states, where s is the string that is accepted by this automata. So if s can be divided into this form, where v is a state on which the states are getting, v is the subset where states are getting repeated. So that means if this type of string is accepted, then all strings of this type will be accepted. So all strings of this type will be accepted. Okay. So I have explained it here why this type of strings will be accepted. So that means I was having this string. So from this string, I can pump another v. I can pump one more v. So v's can be pumped. Okay, so that means if this is accepted, this is also accepted, and this is also accepted, or we can generalize that this type of string will be accepted by this particular automata. Fine. And on this concept lies the pumping lemma. So let me rub this and let me explain what is pumping lemma. Pumping lemma. So what is this pumping lemma saying? This pumping lemma is saying, suppose L is a regular language, okay, then there exists a constant k, which is called pumping lemma constant. Okay, so suppose L is a regular language, then there exists a constant k that depends on the language. Depends on the language such that for all x is a string that belongs to this language, okay, such that for all x that belongs to a language and the size of this x is greater than or equal to k, so greater than k, then so such that for all x greater than or equal to such that for all x belonging to L, x can be divided into 3 substrings u, v, and w such that x is equal to u dot v dot w, satisfying what it is satisfying. The first thing is the first thing that I have written here. X is concatenation of these three substrings. Second is length of this substring u and v. U and v. It is less than or equal to k. Okay, and size of this v is greater than 0. So this v should be greater than 0. And third is, if it is satisfying these two, then for all I, this string u, v, I, w belongs to L as well. Okay, so this is a pumping lemma constant. What it is saying, that suppose L is a regular language. So let me explain it with our previous example. So in that example, we were having string S, and we said the size of this S is greater than or equal to k. What was k there? K was number of states in finite automata that accepts S. Okay, so here it is saying, suppose L is a regular language. So L is our regular language. So if L is a regular language, that means for this language there will exist a DFA. Okay, there will be a DFA. Fine, and this DFA will have states. So up to this point it is okay. Suppose L is a regular language, so this is our regular language. Then there exists is a constant k. So here k was constant. What was this k? It was number of states in finite automata that accepts S. So it is saying, if L is a regular language, for this language there will exist a constant k. And this constant k depends on the language. Basically, this constant k is the number of states of the DFA that is accepting this language. So this constant is specific for this particular language. Okay, such that there exists, such that for all x, for all strings that belong to L, so for all S that are part of this language, that means that are accepted by this DFA, this X can be divided into three substrings. We used to divide this S into three substrings. So that means this X can be divided into three substrings. Okay, and our X is equal to u dot v dot w. So this is X is equal to u dot v dot w. So if this is the case, okay, this is the case, and length of uv is less than or equal to k, so maybe equal to k or less than k, and length of this v is greater than 0, then we said that uviw also belongs to L. That means here also uviw also belongs to L. So that means we can pump I number of V's. So what does that mean? For example, if my string is X is this, okay, let's say this is my V. So this is U, this is V, and this is W. Okay, so if X belongs to I, then if X belongs to the language, then V square W also belongs. So what is V square? It is U V V W. And what is that string? A B A. This is U. What is V? V is B A. Again V. V is B A. W. What is W? A A. This also belongs to a language. Okay, so this is our pumping lemma, and I have shown you why this is true. So in my previous example, why this particular string also belongs to this particular language. So I have given you it in the form of example, but you have to prove it formally. prove that the pumping lemma is right. Okay, so you have to assume all these things, then you have to prove that this also belongs to L. This particular string also belongs to L. Okay. Now let's see how we can use pumping lemma to prove that a language is non-regular. Okay, so let me take an example. So let's take an example. Prove L is equal to 0 raised power n, 1 raised power n is a non-regular language. So we will prove that this particular language is non-regular using pumping lemma. So we have proved similar type of language. For example, this type of language is non-regular by using Myhill-Naredi theorem. But here we will prove it using pumping lemma. Okay, and this is a strategy that you should use whenever you are trying to prove that a language is non-regular. So first thing is you have to assume L is a regular language. So assume it is a regular language. So when you are assuming L is a regular language, so what is pumping lemma saying? So pumping lemma is saying, it is saying that if L is a regular language, if it is a regular language, then there will be a string X such that length of X is greater than or equal to K, and also there is a constant K such that the length of this string is greater than or equal to K, and this string can be divided into 3 parts, and it will satisfy the following parts. So first is it will satisfy this. Second is length of uv is less than or equal to k, and length of v is greater than 0. And third, it will satisfy u, v, I, w belongs to L. So these things it will satisfy. If L is a regular language, then only it will be satisfied. So we are assuming L is a regular language, so it will satisfy the pumping lemma conditions. So what are pumping lemma conditions? The second one is, the second condition, what is pumping lemma saying? It is saying there will exist a constant K. Exist a constant K. What is this constant K called? It is called pumping lemma constant. Basically, what is this K? In actual terms, this K denotes the number of states of a DFA that accepts L. That accepts L. And what is L? L is our regular language. Third, so this it will satisfy. Third is, it is saying that there will exist a string, okay, X, such that length of X is greater than or equal to K. So you can see that we can have a string like this, 0 raised power K, 1 raised power K. And you can see the length of this X is greater than or equal to K. Because if you can see, the length of this string is 2K. It has K zeros followed by K ones. Okay. And we know this string, this X belongs to L. Why this belongs to L? Because it is of this format, 0 raised power n, 1 raised power n. It has equal number of zeros and ones. First we have zeros, then we have ones. So this X belongs to L. Then fourth, it is saying that this X can be divided into 3 parts, U, V, W, such that length of UV is less than or equal to K. So that means this UV part. So since I am saying X is equal to UVW, but X is 0 raised power K, 1 raised power K. So that means this UV the length of this uv is less than or equal to k. So that means this uv contains only zeros. So it contains only zeros. It cannot contain ones. Why? Because if you see in this x, the first k are zeros, then the next k are ones. So now I am saying that this x is UVW, and size of this UV is less than or equal to k. So that means it belongs to this portion. So this portion. So UV contains only zeros. And we know the length of V is always greater than zero. So that means this V part, V contains only zeros. Okay. So now the fifth point is, so since this string belongs to this language, then this particular string will also belong to L. Why this particular string will also belong to L? By pumping lemma. Because we are assuming L is a regular language, so that means it will satisfy these three conditions. So it will satisfy all these conditions. Okay, so that means UV square W also belongs to L. Now UVW, what was UVW? UVW was string containing equal number of zeros and ones. Okay, now we are saying UV square W also belongs to L. What does that mean? It means we are increasing V. So what is V? V contains only zeros. So that means in this particular string, we are including extra zeros. Okay. So are we changing ones? No, we are not changing ones. We are including extra zeros. So that means this particular string contains more zeros than ones. And we are saying that this particular string belongs to L, but L contains only those strings that have equal number of zeros and ones. And initially we have only zeros. But here we are finding L string that belongs to L and it has more zeros than ones. So we are reaching to a contradiction. So that means our assumption. What was our assumption? Assumption was L is a regular language. So our assumption is wrong. What was our assumption? L is a regular language. So L is not a regular language. It is a non-regular language. Fine. So this is how we prove a language is non-regular. So let me generalize, or let me give it in generalized format. So whenever we have to prove L as non-regular, okay, what we have to do? First, assume it is regular. So if it is regular, so pumping lemma is saying if L is a regular, it will satisfy three conditions. X is equal to UVW such that length of X is greater than or equal to K, and where K is a pumping lemma constant. Second, it will satisfy length of UV is less than or equal to K, and length of V is greater than 0. And third, if this string belongs to the language, then UVIW also belongs to L. So if it is a regular language, then these conditions will be satisfied. So assume it is a regular language. So if it is a regular language, it will satisfy the conditions of pumping lemma. So what is the conditions of pumping lemma? First, so we have to, there will exist a constant K. constant k. Okay. Then third, it will satisfy these three conditions. So you have to consider any string. Okay, you have to think about this string and divide this string into three parts. But this string, length of this string should be greater than or equal to k. Then take this uv, length of this uv should be less than k and length of v is greater than 0. Then you have to show that if we pump these v's by pumping v's, it belongs to L. If it satisfies all these threes, then it is a regular language. So if there is any contradiction at point number 5, then that means our assumption is wrong. It is not a regular language. So this is how pumping lemma is used to prove a language is non-regular. Okay. Now I will give you some examples. So example 1 that you have to prove. So L is equal to X belongs to 1 star such that X is equal to 1 raised to power n square, where n is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, so that means X. So strings in this language, there will be strings like this. So let's take n first 1. 1 square is 1, so it is 1. Let's take n as 2. 2 square is 4, so that means 4 ones. Let's take n as 3. 3 is 3 square. 3 square is 9, so that means 9 ones. Likewise. So prove this language is non-regular using pumping lemma. Another example, L is equal to W belongs to 0, 1 star such that W is a palindrome. Prove that this language is also non-regular using pumping lemma. Okay, so these are the two exercises for this particular lecture. So with this, we have completed the discussion about the pumping lemma. Okay, so what was pumping lemma? So pumping lemma was saying that if L is a regular language, then following three conditions will be satisfied. And what were the conditions? First condition was that we will have a string X which can be divided into 3 substrings such that length of X is greater than or equal to K. Second, this substring, length of this substring is less than or equal to K and length of V is greater than 0. And third is it will satisfy that UVIW belongs to L. This X belongs to L, UVIW also belongs to L. So that means we can pump as many V's as possible. Okay. So what will be the reverse of pumping lemma? The reverse of pumping lemma. So what will be the reverse of pumping lemma? The reverse of pumping lemma is if there is a language. So here it was if L is a regular language. So here it is saying if there is a language, any language, which satisfies these conditions. So condition 1, pumping lemma conditions, condition 2, condition 3. So if there is a language which satisfies these 3 conditions, then L is regular. Okay, so this is the reverse of pumping lemma. But reverse of pumping lemma is not true, is not true. So what does that mean? It means that if there is some language and it satisfies all these three conditions, then it is not necessary that particular language is regular. But the pumping lemma is true. What is pumping lemma? If L is a regular language, then it will satisfy these conditions. But reverse, that is, if there is language satisfying these conditions, then it is not necessary that particular language is regular. And the example is, you should prove this. Prove by counter example. Prove by counter example. So that means you will prove that this particular language, which language? L is equal to W belongs to A comma B comma C star such that W is equal to AI BJ CK. Okay. Such that if I is equal to 1, then J is equal to K. Okay. So this particular language, you will see that it satisfies all three conditions. So it satisfies all three conditions of pumping lemma, but it is not regular. So you have to do it, this particular language. So let me give the idea about this language. So what is this language? So let me write this particular language. So it is L is equal to AI BJ CK such that if I is equal to 1, then J is equal to K. So what does that mean? It contains following strings. For example, A, B, B, C, C. So here I is 1 because A is only 1. Then B's and C's are same. So will this language, will this string a part of this language? No. Why? Because here I is 1, but B's and C's are not same. J and K is not same. Okay, so this does not belong. If it is like this, so this will belong to this particular language. Why? Here I is not equal to 1. So that means B and C, this B's and C's can be different. Okay. So this particular language, this particular string, likewise this particular string, this belongs to this particular language. And you can see that this particular language, it satisfies condition 1, condition 2, and condition 3. Okay, and you have to see, it is your homework to prove, to see that it satisfies all these three conditions. And after satisfying these three conditions, you have to first prove that this L is non-regular. So first you should prove that this L is non-regular. So you should use Myhill-Nerode theorem to prove that this particular language is non-regular. After proving this language is non-regular, then you should do what you should do. You will see that it will satisfy this condition, and this condition, but it is not regular. Okay, and reverse of pumping lemma was saying that if these conditions are satisfied, then the language should be regular. So the reverse of pumping lemma is not true. So with this, I will stop the discussion about the pumping lemma. And with this, we have also completed the discussion about the following points. So we have completed the discussion about finite automata. We have completed the discussion about regular language. So what are regular languages? And in finite automata, we discussed about the DFA, we discussed about the NFA, we discussed about the epsilon NFA. Okay, we also completed the discussion about regular expressions. And we also completed the discussion about non-regular language. And in non-regular language, we discussed two important theorems. One is Myhill-Narady theorem, Myhill-Narady theorem, and another is pumping lemma. And these two theorems are used to prove a language is non-regular. So from non-regular language, so what are non-regular language? So non-regular language correspond to problems that cannot be solved by finite automata. Okay, so these problems cannot be solved by finite automata that we discussed. So that means we need some other computation device that can solve these problems. So our next lecture, or we can say the next 5 or 10 lectures, will be related to context free grammars and push down automata. And we will see how the problems that cannot be solved by finite automata can be solved using a push down automata. So from lecture number 18, we will start discussion about the grammars, and most specifically, we will discuss about the context free grammars. Then we will discuss what is push down automata. So let's meet in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye.